So after finishing Avengers vs. Aliens, I wanted to do a top 10 Alien crossover list. Problem is, I don't have enough favorite Alien crossovers to really get to 10. So yeah, we really just have 8. So that's why you have for this list my favorite Alien crossovers. And some good recommendations, though some of these may be actually harder to find because a lot of these comics are now defunct and pretty pricey. But hey, never hurts to go comic dumpster diving, right? So yeah, these are some of my favorite Alien crossovers of all time. Starting off, and I have the comics to show with them. So starting off, we have Wildcats Aliens. Wildcats Aliens is a one-and-done comic from Image, back when Wildcats was part of the Image universe, and Dark Horse. This is also part of the Alien Dark Horse days. That's where a lot of these Alien crossovers come from. This comic has a lot of reverence because this comic basically is not only just an Aliens crossover with Wildcats, it's also a crossover with Stormwatch and actually is the comic that gave rise to the Authority. Literally, this comic, which is sadly written by Warren Ellis, the comic was basically, Image and Dark Horse really wanted to do a Wildcats Aliens crossover, but Ellis didn't want to do it until they said, hey, we know you have this idea for this thing called the Authority, we'll let you kill off whoever in Stormwatch. And Ellis was like, okay, that's the story. So Wildcats Aliens is technically in-canon comic. It's visceral, it's violent, and also, it's kind of if you like Stormwatch, it kind of fucks over the Stormwatch characters. But I will say, it's one of the few rare comics where the Xenomorphs technically win in the story. As a Wildcats fan, I do enjoy it, and as an Aliens fan, it's cool to see the Xenomorphs be treated as like a literal threat. So that was really cool. Next up is a DC Dark Horse comic of a comic that shouldn't work. Batman Aliens. Batman Aliens is a two-shot, and there is a sequel. It sucks. But this comic, I have both issues in one pack. So Batman Aliens, this comic should not work because you're basically breaking the cardinal sin of having the Xenomorphs on Earth. That's kind of a cardinal sin in of itself, if I'm being honest. So the thing is, Ron Mars, who did do a few of the Alien crossovers, Ron Mars did so much for the Alien franchise in the DC crossovers, because there's another one we're going to be talking about in a bit. We're going to talk later on. But this also works on another level, that it has Bernie Wrightson doing the artwork, and Bernie Wrightson is a hell of a horror artist. I mean, let me just give you like a look at some of this shit. Like, how cool is that? And yes, it does break the cardinal rule of having the Xenomorphs on Earth, but the thing of it is, there's only like technically 3 Xenomorphs. So one which is a big gator Xenomorph that's actually kind of cool. This comic basically walks the line of having the Xenomorphs on Earth and still be a threat. Because there's really only 3 of them. There's no queen, there's no hidden hive or whatever. And Batman is put on edge. Like, Batman is put out of his element. He's in the Amazon, because in the story, Bruce Wayne gets a message from a member of Wayne Enterprises, a geologist, who's gone missing, and Batman is sent to go find him. So Bruce goes into the Amazon to find this guy, which, by the way, this comic is in continuity in the Alien stories. This actually was part of a Dark Horse. There's a prequel comic involving the guy who did go missing in a Dark Horse Presents Alien comic. So again, just like with Wildcats Aliens, this comic is technically a in-canon story as well. So the book actually is pretty... it's really good at showcasing that even a lesser number of Xenomorphs can be still a threat. They're scary. And Bernie Wrightson really carries the artwork here. And this feels like a straight-up horror book, too. You also have Batman with a bunch of ragtag group of mercenaries who are just cannon fodder. But all in all, yeah, this is a really solid one. It's a comic that, for the longest time, I never thought would work. But when I finally found the Batman Alien crossover, I was like, I have to read it. I read both issues, and I was like, damn, this was really cool. I'm glad I found it. Now moving on to a comic I just reviewed. and that is Avengers versus Aliens. This is the first Marvel Alien crossover, and man, did they knock it out of the park. Like I said, they didn't get Joe Schmo to write this comic at all. They in no way crapped out on this book. They actually put fucking effort into the comic, and I genuinely appreciate that. The comic is written by Jonathan Hickman with artwork by Asad Ribic. And while the story of how the Xenomorphs got into the Marvel universe is kind of weird, and also there's a plot line with the Engineers that doesn't go anywhere, it's actually pretty fucking solid. It's a solid comic, once again showcasing that the Xenomorphs can be a threat to the Marvel universe. They can be a threat to anyone at any given time. They're brutal, they're scary, and this is just all about survival. Like, it's not even like the Avengers fighting the aliens. It's them survive. It should be called Avengers trying to survive the aliens. That's what it really should be called at the end of the day. It just came out, and I really have high hopes for the Captain America Alien crossover, and hopefully we get more Alien crossovers in the near future involving, like, X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, Venom. Those are ones people really want to see. Not trying to say, like, I'm glad this Captain America Alien is a out-of-the-box crossover. I really do like those. But come on, we want to see the Xenomorphs fight the Brood. That has to happen. Anyway, so moving on to another one, Dynamite this time around with Dark Horse, Vampirella Aliens. So this comic was a White Whale book. When I was in New Orleans with my girlfriend, we went to a comic shop in New Orleans, and I found my White Whale book. I always enjoy Vampirella in crossovers, and this was the last, technically speaking, this is the last Dark Horse Alien crossover. This was the last one Dark Horse got to do before they lost the comic rights. So it actually is kind of have a lot of significance. I did a review of this comic a while ago, but just to reiterate, the story is that the alien, basically in this comic, a Mars colony has found an ancient Draculon. They're alien vampires. That's what Vampirella is. She is from the planet Draculon, and they found an old cult that lived on Mars, Draculon cult on Mars, but they also found xenomorph eggs as well. And the Xenomorphs wake up, and Vampirella is called in because, yeah, we found a Draculon colony. Hey, let's get Vampirella. She's an expert in these things. The comic is written by Karina Becco, who is a highly underrated horror writer, and someone I would love to see do one of the Universal Monster comics, like I said. If you can find this book, I highly recommend it. It's a solid, gory comic. I really dig how they... it's more of a sci-fi horror than anything else. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, now for what is arguably... I'm just going to say right now, this is what I think is the best Alien crossover of all time. Judge Dredd versus Aliens, Incubus. This is one of my favorite crossovers of all time. It gives so much love to both Judge Dredd and Aliens, and this is written by Andy Diggle with artwork by... Oh, who did the artwork? I believe it is... Yeah, story by John Wagner and Andy Diggle with artwork by Henry Flint. The comic is basically, the Xenomorphs have been found by a villain named Mr. Bones, who has been hiding them and ready to attack Mega City 1. This comic does a great job of showcasing that one Xenomorph can be scary enough. And I also love... This comic is just gory as hell. This is the goriest of all the crossovers I'm going to mention. You have judges get murdered, viscerated. You have people just get their limbs ripped off, acid blood in the face. This comic does not hold back, and there's a great fight between Dredd and a Xenomorph in a hospital. It's awesome. I don't know if you can find this, but I highly recommend it. This is also probably my favorite of the Judge Dredd crossovers. And it's like, again, this is probably my favorite Alien crossover. Maybe even my favorite Judge Dredd crossover as well. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites, hands down. This is an awesome comic. Yeah. Anyway, moving on now to Superman Aliens. I have not read Superman Aliens 2. I haven't been able to find it. I don't think I ever will, at least for a reasonable price. This comic is a lot of fun of Superman thinking, because this is an era before he found Supergirl. So he meets a girl named Kara on a wayward planet, and essentially the two of them encounter xenomorphs, a bunch of xenomorphs, and we also have Lois and another woman who's running LexCorp at the time, dealing with a xenomorph as well. The other major thing is that this is like where Clark is on this colony, it's drifting away from sunlight, so he's slowly losing his power as more and more xenomorphs show up. It's a great story of Superman prevailing no matter what, and again showcasing, yeah, even Clark doesn't want to fuck with these things. Even he can be scared of them. It's a great comic by Dan Jurgens and Kevin Nowlan, and yeah, this comic I think was made right after the first Batman versus Predator crossover. I can't remember, but it made a lot of sense to have that. Also, I love the icon of the chestbuster coming out of the S. I think that's awesome. And, yep, moving on to the next Dark Horse DC crossover, Green Lantern versus Aliens. This is the first Aliens crossover I bought a while ago. This also is a comic that involves Kyle Rayner, and essentially the story is broken up into two parts. It's a 4-issue book, but it has a unique take on it. Basically, the first issue deals with Hal Jordan on a lost mission involving the Xenomorphs. And then the next 3 issues is Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. This was an era when Kyle was the only Green Lantern left. And him and a few other former Lanterns going to save a down ship on Mogo where Hal left the Xenomorphs. It's a great story, and I didn't talk about this when I was talking about Batman Aliens, but what I really like about Ron Mars's version of the Aliens, that both in here and in the Batman crossover, Hal and Bruce have the same thought of that they're not evil. Like, the Xenomorphs aren't evil, they're just animals. We're just in their way. Like, they're just doing as nature intended. And it gives a great moral quandary for Kyle as well. But I do like that, like, Ron Mars says the thing of, like, yeah, they're not intentionally trying to kill people. They're just animals. They're just doing as they're intended. So yeah, I really like this one. I think it gets lost in the shuffle of the other, like, Alien crossovers with DC, obviously with Batman and Superman. But I think this is also a really solid one too. And finally, it'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Alien versus Predator, the crossover that started it all. This comic, and I know I have the omnibus right here, which good luck finding one of these. You can probably, I think Marvel re-released the Alien versus Predator omnibus, if I'm not mistaken, as like a prestige book. I'm not for sure. But Alien versus Predator is the crossover that started it all. Without the first Alien versus Predator book, we would not have anything else. We would quite literally not have, versus Batman, versus Superman, versus all the others I've just talked about. It's the pinnacle. Has it been adapted well in movies? Fuck no. It has not been adapted well in movies. But hopefully with Predator Badlands and with Alien Earth and the sequel to Romulus coming out, it does look like all roads point to a new Alien versus Predator movie. So hopefully we can get it right the next time around. That's really all I wish. But like I said, it's a great comic, and Machiko is a great female protagonist. The story is simplicity in of itself, but it's so well put together. And there's other great ones in here too in this omnibus I'm going to talk about real fast. The sequel, War. There's also AVP Eternal by, I think it was Alex Maleev who did both. Yeah, Ian Eddington did Eternal, but Alex Maleev did the artwork. I think that's also a great one-and-done story. But yeah, it would be remiss not to talk about Alien versus Predator when you're talking about Alien crossovers. So there you go, guys. Those are my favorite my favorite Alien crossovers. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what are some of your favorite Alien crossovers in the comments below? I'm probably going to do like a favorite Predator crossover at some point, so stay tuned, because there's a lot more Predator crossovers and a lot better Predator crossovers than Alien. But anyway, you guys tell me in the comments below what do you guys think, and what are some of yours. Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.